up, Zoners? This is Tyler, Big Third Ward, and Jason, the lucky bastard Ethan Wolf, coming to you live from the West Coast. And this is the Fantasy Red Zone, a day late, a buck short, Jason. That's what we were doing today. I had technical difficulties last night. I was able to figure it out later, so we are pushing the show out a day later. We do apologize. We got some crazy shit going on. I got to go pick up my wife in 30 minutes. Jason's got a baby. Things are hitting the fan, Jason. So we are going to be going a little bit faster today. Maybe a little bit less news, but we got our starts and our stits, our plays and pauses. I've got some streamers for everybody. Streamers for every position except for running backs. Because, newsflash, assholes, there are no streaming running backs. They're all gone, dude. They're all owned or backups waiting for an injury. So anyways, Jason, real fast, before we get into the show, man, this show needs help. We just got called dope, man. Thank you to you guys. But hey, public needs. How can the public help this show?
Things run a little slower in Scranton. Just kidding. We're on a time limit here. We got to get this out as soon as possible. If you made it this far and enjoy Tyler speaking and then me speaking, then please hit the subscribe, press the like. We like the likes. Leave us a comment about our trade targets. If you have any questions about your trade targets, let us know. Or wait, this is player pause. Player pause. We're also on the radio, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're feeling friendly, we have a Patreon. Thanks, guys.
Hey, number one way to support this show is by giving us a like, a subscription, and Patreon. Got a hard on for that Patreon, Jason. All right, man. Let's get into the news for you. First up, I saw this morning, dude, on my toilet. I was going to say I almost shit my pants. Guess what, dude? I was in the right position. Chuba, 4 years, $32 million, contract extension. I drafted Jonathan Brooks, Jason. I'm waiting for Jonathan Brooks. $15 million guaranteed. To me now, they're going to work in Jonathan Brooks like Jahmyr Gibbs' his rookie season. But guess what, dude? The season's almost over. So, yeah. As a Jonathan Brooks owner, I'm hearing about people dropping him and stuff right now. I mean, you have to hold on to him, but this is like the Dollar General, Jason, Lions team building out here.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. It kind of sucks, too. It's like we waited so long.
Yeah, and then, I mean, Chuba owners were ready just to, write it off to Jonathan Brooks, and now who knows what the fuck's going to go on. Timeshare in this offense is nothing I want to be a part of. All right, man, next up, Christian McCaffrey should be starting this week, all right? Jordan Mason's wearing a blue contact jersey. Apparently, he is more beat up than Christian McCaffrey, so go pick up Isaac Garindo if you can. He's probably the handcuff to own right now. And Christian McCaffrey hopefully opens up everything for Deebo Samuel and such. And hey, man, after the bye last year, they killed it. They just had a bye. They should be hitting the floor running again, Jason.
Even though this might be his first game returning or back or playing this season, people who likely drafted him are in last place anyway. So got nothing else to lose. Play the guy.
Jason, Bengals. Khalil Herbert. They got him in the trade deadline. I went to go pick him up. Somebody already owned him, all right? But he's expected to play tonight versus the Ravens. And worked aggressively. Oh, anyways, should just have a minor role, probably like 5 or 6 carries. And then on that same team, Jason T. Higgins is out. So I hope you picked up Mike Gesicki. I know this is going to come out on Friday, but still, dude, we talked about how good Mike Gesicki was. He's got a good chance to be a tight end one this week.
Yeah, he should have a minor role this week, too, because Baltimore's pretty good against the run. So it's not the week to start Khalil Herbert.
Yeah. And then, hey, Jason, T-Law, man, Trevor Lawrence just got paid. Who got paid this offseason? Was it Dak Prescott and Trevor Lawrence? Well, holy shit, man. Both of them are going to be like, maybe have season-ending surgery. That's what the rumors are about Trevor Lawrence, and he is considered unlikely to play. So I have the Vikings defense, and I'm going to be starting them with supreme confidence against Jaguars and Tank Bigsby and ETN.
Yeah, so I'm not expecting much out of Parker Washington, and he's still going to just be on my bench this week.
And then, hey, man, Devontae Smith missed yesterday with a hamstring. A.J. Brown, full participant, and Devontae Smith was at practice. I did not get to see how involved he was. A.J. Brown has an amazing matchup. Devontae Smith has a terrible matchup. If you look at the cornerback matchup episode, go check that shit out, dog. But yeah, Jason, so Devontae Smith, we got to pay attention to see if he's playing. If he does, he still has a bad matchup, but should be a good flex option or low-end wide receiver too. And then, hey, dude, Xaiver Leggett, Jason, full go after aggravating his wrist injury that he's been dealing with 4 years. Why do we not hear about Bucky Irving's toe, fucking Xaiver Leggett's wrist, dude? This is happening for years.
They're keeping secrets from us. It's like the government.
Hey, UFO disclosure, dog. UFO disclosure. All right, man. Hey, Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell is expected to be active for tonight's game. So we need to see how Keaton Mitchell's going to do. Justice Hill seems to have that job on a stranglehold. But Keaton Mitchell, if you remember him, he just needs 2 plays, man.
Yeah, he's my handcuff since I couldn't get Justice Hill.
And hey, lastly, Jason, Ceedee Lamb, second straight day of practice. He said he's not going to wear a brace for his shoulder and that he feels good enough to play this week. So you are in the predicament of starting, Dallas with Cooper Rush, a shitty offensive line. You better hope he gets 10 targets.
Gangsters don't wear braces, dog.
Gangsters don't dance, we boogie. All right, man, let's get into the streamers. Speaking of R. Kelly, Jason, my first up, here, I'll go with this. This, because you love this guy. You love this guy. I think this guy might be your favorite wide receiver of all time. Streamers.
Michael Irvin.
Cedric Wilson, man. He's going against Atlanta. 0.9% owned, all right? 0.9% owned. He was the most targeted wide receiver on New Orleans last week. I mean, they had the whole game plan of Olave being the number 1 wide receiver, whatever. Olave got carted off to a hospital. Rashid Shaheed is still out. So it's all going to be Alvin Kamara, tight ends, and Cedric Wilson. And if you look at the cornerback matchups, Jason, he's going against cornerback A.J. Terrell, who used to be a good cornerback a while ago. I don't know what happened to him. 0.30 fantasy points per route run he's allowing. So Cedric Wilson, the number 1 wide receiver, Derek Carr, a decent offensive coordinator. They got rid of their head coach or whatever. But still, man, there is a chance. I think that people should actually be picking up Cedric Wilson. 0.9% owned. He should be like 25% owned.
Those stats that you just gave me are pretty crazy. I never would have thought that he would have been leading anything in anybody with any team.
Well, it was like 4 targets, dude. So let's not get crazy over here. But for wide receivers, he was the only person that was being targeted, dude. Like, they don't have wide receivers, man. They just need a warm body out there catching passes. So Cedric Wilson should be actually a pretty damn good, especially like a PPR flex option for you this week that nobody has, dude. 1%. And then, on the opposite, I'm just going to, because since I have this typed out, Xaiver Leggett, Jason, he was on the waiver wire show. He was on the cornerback show. He literally has like the best matchup for cornerbacks this week. He just said that he was going to play. He's going against Deonte Banks. Deonte Banks is the worst cornerback for the Giants, and he shadows people. So he should be covering him the entire time. They're giving up the 8th most fantasy points to wide receivers. Bryce is going to start again. He has a 21% target share of the last 2 games with Bryce. So the one thing was his wrist injury that we know is going to be okay. Still, only 38.5% owned. Go out, pick up Xaiver Leggett, and start him in your flex.
Yeah, he's gone in all of our leagues.
Yeah, I know, dude. I tried to get him a long time ago. I thought he was going to be awesome. As soon as Bryce Young quit starting, I was trying to trade for Xaiver Leggett. And then here we go, man. This is kind of scary to me, but Daniel Jones versus Carolina, 19.8% owned. He had a quarterback 5 versus Washington finish last week. He was outside the top 22 the 3 weeks before that. So for 3 weeks, a couple were without Malik Nabers, Jason. He was outside pretty much a quarterback 2. So even in 2 quarterback leagues, he was like unstartable. Carolina, the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. And then this is kind of interesting. Jones ranks 30th in yards per attempt. That's terrible. Highly accurate throw rate, 30th. That's terrible. And fantasy points per dropback. That's terrible. But he is 6th in carries per game and 12th in rushing yards per game among quarterbacks. So he is going to save he's going to either, I think that Malik Nabers has an amazing matchup as well. So his number 1 wide receiver's got a great matchup and he will run the ball. So I see him as a top 12 quarterback maybe this week, especially with Trevor Lawrence and Dak Prescott being out. Go try to pick up Daniel Jones and start him this week.
Yeah, this guy was almost my play quarterback this week because the matchup is going to be great. And he had a rushing touchdown last week that he stole from Tyrone Tracy. So he's definitely a runner, and he's definitely used around the goal line.
And on that same game, Jason, tight end Theo Johnson versus Carolina for the Giants, 2.3% owned. Carolina giving up the most fantasy points per game to tight ends, now allowing more than Kansas City. So Kansas City was the person you want to stream against. Now it is Carolina. They are second in target. He was second in targets with 6 for 51 yards and a touchdown last game. Carolina allowing the 8th most passing yards over the last 3 games. So, dude, I'm actually starting this guy this week. I was waiting for the trade to go through, and then I remembered that I have Jonathan Brooks on the. I've got to activate him, Jason. I couldn't even add this dude. Now I've got to drop somebody. I got to figure out somebody to drop and add this guy for this week. So I'm starting this guy. You can too.
Start everybody against Carolina.
Lately. And then Jason, lastly, this guy, I was on my waiver wire show. I think that he would have been great, really, this week against my Vikings. But now we don't know who's going to throw the fucking ball. All right. So take this with a grain of salt. Wide receiver Parker Washington versus Minnesota, 3% owned. 9th best cornerback matchup with my Byron Murphy. Jason talked about how he's a lockdown corner in my franchise, but he's just the opposite in real life. 0.35 fantasy points per route run allowed. And then, man, Minnesota allowing the 2nd most fantasy points per game to wide receivers at like 35 points. And ever since Christian Kirk has gone, he has been the slot wide receiver. And Brian Thompson Jr. he was more injured than I thought last week, and he's still injured. So it would have been a great matchup, dude, for this guy. Full PPR flex probably would have got you like 12 points. But now without Trevor Lawrence, I don't even know who the backup is there, dude. I need to look into that.
Mac Jones.
Oh, dude. Parker Washington. Let's go, flex. All right, dude.
Well, that's good because you're saying I should start him this week.
Yeah, I think that you should. In full PPR. I was going to say, here's my pen. All right, man, let's get into our plays and pauses. And before we do anything, how we doing on time, Jason? Plays and pause.
It's 4:20 right now.
Oh, well, shit. We're doing pretty good, if you ask me. Okay, good. My camera's still working. That's great. Again, man, I'm so afraid of all this shit just dropping off just not working after last night. Jason, let's go over last week's, all right? We did pretty well, except for some crazy-ass plays that kind of put us in not correct territory. Dak Prescott, we had a start, Jason. He finished his quarterback 22. That was not great. Bijan Robinson, I thought this fool was going to be a running back 1, and Jason and I were watching the game together. He started off the game. He was going to run for 300 yards, dude. And anyways, that game kind of got out of control fast, and they just didn't use him as much. Running back 9, though, still had 21.5 points. Jacoby Myers, man. Jason, you told people to start him, and he was wide receiver 16 with 18.5 fantasy points. That was the 2nd best game of the season with a touchdown, I think. And then Cade Otton said to start him, of course, because that was just like, you have to stream against Kansas City. Tight end 3, 22 points. Jason, this was the biggest one, man. Remember that I was on an island saying, you got to not sit Lamar Jackson, but I thought Lamar Jackson was going to be quarterback 12 or outside. Because the last time he had a really bad matchup, he was quarterback 12. Dude, he went quarterback 6. He kind of went nuclear. If it was a close game, man, he would have had 100 points. All right, 23.6. I do apologize. And then, Jason, you said to sit Ramondre Stevenson. If it wasn't for that fucking Hail Mary, Jason, you would have been fine. He ended up as running back 7, 22 points. And then, hey, of course, I told you to stop. Do not start Marvin Harrison Jr. Wide receiver 76. I said to put him on your bench, not even a flex. And that worked out. And again, man, we love to tell people to not play Kincaid, and we picked that right again. Tight end number 20. So, yeah, Jason, except for we were over like 60%, except for, Stevenson having that miracle play.
Oh, my God. He went from 14 points to 21 points on that damn play. Stupid. His rushing was still pretty bad that game, though.
Right. Exactly. All right, man. Let's get into the plays and the pauses. Let's start with the pauses, and then we will we'll end with the plays with some positivity. All right, man. So give me a quarterback, Jason, that we're looking to sit this week.
Russell Wilson.
Oh.
This guy's projected 17 points in ESPN. So, pause, quarterback 37, Russell Wilson. The last 3 weeks, the Commanders have allowed the fewest passing yards a game at 131 yards. This will be Russell Wilson's first away game of the season. Week 9, Daniel Jones, 174 passing yards against these Commanders. Lucas? According to PFF, the Steelers' offensive line allows a pressure rate of 28%, and the Commanders' defensive line earns a 35% pressure rate, and Russell Wilson's completion percentage under pressure is only 44%. That's horrible. Lucas agrees. A huge drop off from his clean pocket percentage. The Commanders are allowing a lot of rushing yards, and the Steelers are a run-first team. This will be the way that they will attack the Commanders. I pause Russell Wilson. I do not think Russell Wilson will meet his projections of 17 points this week.
Jason, the royal penis is clean, Your Highness. That was ludicrous, man. You remember that album?
Oh yeah, was that word of mouth?
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, what was I think the album starts that way. But Jason, Marshawn Lattimore, now he's going against Marshawn Lattimore. All right, so take out George Pickens, and then you have somebody that the other wide receiver just got there. But hey, I was listening to sports radio. Apparently, the Steelers have been targeting Mike Williams for a while. They just wanted a 50-50 target in the red zone. So he's just a red zone target. They just want to throw him touchdowns, 50-50 balls like George Pickens. So I thought that was interesting signing, and they got exactly who they wanted, apparently. But yeah, Jason, Russell Wilson, I think that's great, especially with Marshawn Lattimore. The way that Marshawn Lattimore is, I would bet that he starts this week and is pretty good. It's like, hey, dude, I just take away this one side where I shadow this guy. I can do that against anybody on any defense.
And he's a bigger cornerback who's likely good possibility that he could bully George Pickens.
Hey, Mike Evans, dude. It's like a Mike Evans type of, how good he is against bigger wide receivers. That's a good point, Jason. Jason, I'm sitting Rico Dowdle. Hey, man, trade deadline went and came and went. I was waiting for ETN to go to the Dallas Cowboys. Now these Dowdle owners think they're hot shit. Well, guess what, man? They're going to get knocked down back to size after this week. The over and under is at 43.5. If this was the Dallas of old, man, this would have been a 50-point over and under. But Dallas with Cooper Rush ain't going to score those points. Just had his best game last week, Jason Dowdle did, versus Atlanta with 21 points. Dude, he's at double-digit fantasy points in each of the last 4 games. But Philadelphia is allowing the fewest rushing yards over the last 3. 64.7, dude, per game. All right? Next is Kansas City with 76.3. Philadelphia is allowing the third fewest fantasy points per game to running backs at 15 points. Dude, Dak out. Ceedee's dealing with the shoulder injury. ETN, and then just the last 3 running backs that Philadelphia has gone against. ETN and Bigsby, man, 46 yards on 11 carries. Chase Brown did have a touchdown, but only 32 yards on 12 carries. Tracy and Singletary, only 41 yards on 11 carries. So people are not even attacking them. They're not even trying to run the fucking ball, dude. So Dowdle better catch a touchdown, man. Otherwise, he's going to be a bench player.
Yeah, I think this game's going to get out of hand quick for the Cowboys. So if there's anything that's going to happen, anything good that's going to happen for Rico, he's going to have to get in the receiving game.
Garbage. So, garbage time.
Yep.
All right, Jason, give me a wide receiver that I should not play this week.
Hey, you know what? We talked about this guy enough. Let's stick to the same game, and let's pause wide receiver 4, Ceedee Lamb.
Oh, shit. I did not
the
expect
Eagles
that.
Are ranked. Huh?
I did not expect that.
I
agree, though.
Sad times. It's sad times. The Eagles are ranked 19th for wide receiver scoring. They allow the 8th fewest receptions to wide receivers. Cooper Rush is now the quarterback, and in previous years, Lamb was a wide receiver 2 with Rush as quarterback with 0 games over 100 receiving yards. And that was back when the Cowboys had a good running game, defense, and offensive line. In the last 3 games, the Eagles have allowed the 2nd fewest receiving yards a game and earned the 3rd most sacks with 11. Lamb is going to be TD dependent. He's a wide receiver 2 on your fantasy roster from here on out. I pause Ceedee Lamb.
Yeah, and we went over the games, man, with Cooper Rush. They had like 5 games, but that was 2 years ago, not last year. That was with a great offensive line. And he was still, pretty much a low-end wide receiver 2 during that span. So now we have a shitty offensive line, man. You don't have anybody fearing the run. I want to see how Ceedee Lamb does in this environment. I wish I could watch. I wish I had the Dallas game, Jason. I wish you were here hacking the internet for me, showing me the world, man, the world of football. All right, dude. Next up, sorry, I'm being weird. LaPorta, Jason. All right. I mean, not a lot of tight ends out there. LaPorta, I'm telling you to sit versus Houston. The over and under on this game, man, almost 50, 48.5. So even though Houston has been doing bad, they still see it being a high-scoring game. Maybe it's just going to be a blowout. Houston allowing the fewest fantasy points per game to tight ends, all right? So when I think about D'Amico Ryans, he's a linebacker from Kyle Shanahan, dude, and from the 49ers. The 49ers, Fred Warner's been amazing at covering tight ends. And now you got this is like, it'd be like Fred Warner getting a coaching job. I don't know. In my mind, I was like, they got they went and got that first round draft pick, the linebacker. They went and got Daniel Hunter. I bet you they're pretty good at covering tight ends. I looked at it. They're the best, dude. So LaPorta, I would not do it with Jameson Williams coming back. Holy shit. Let's see. The 21st most targeted tight end over the last 3 weeks, dude. 2 of those weeks were without Jameson. He had 11 targets over the last 3 weeks. That's crazy. The last 3 tight ends to go against Houston, Conklin, 3 yards on 2 targets. The Colts went against them. Only Josh Downs had more than 1 target. So I think 2 tight ends had 1 target. Kraft, 33 yards and a touchdown on 4 targets. So Houston holding the tight end down. LaPorta has to catch a touchdown to be anything, dude. He doesn't get any targets at all. So trade away LaPorta. I swear to God, dude, he would be cuttable right now if you didn't spend so much draft capital on him.
You say he's touchdown dependent, and he only has 1 receiving touchdown this season.
LaPorta. So he's just terrible. And when I saw, because I was like, let me just see like what he ranks in targets over the last 3 weeks. When I saw that, dude, you should see the tight ends ahead of him. It's like, how is this even possible? But at the same time, dude, that offense is throwing the ball like 17 times a game. So Amon-Ra's not getting any targets, but it's just LaPorta has suffered the most.
And it's not like they need to change anything because the Lions are winning the games.
Why? Yeah, it's a winning formula.
Yep.
And nobody has an ego. It's like an egoless team, so nobody's going to be demanding targets. All right, Jason, play. I'm up. I've got a quarterback. I got to remember who I even did, dude. Who'd I do? Oh, Brock Purdy versus Tampa Bay. We got Purdy. All right, so again, after the bye, they went down to last week. Last year, they went down. They played Jacksonville. Now they're going down and playing. Who are they playing this week, Jason? Tampa Bay. So they went down to Florida after a bye. It was like 38-0 or some crazy shit like that. And they started their roll. So now after the bye, they're going down to the same damn state. And it's going to continue, Jason. The over and under for this game is at 50.5. Holy shit. Baker Mayfield's amazing, man. You saw what he did against Kansas City. He had no weapons. And that fool kept up with Patrick Mahomes. So it should be a close game. They should have to throw the ball a lot. Tampa Bay is allowing the most fantasy points per game, or to wide receivers, to quarterbacks, my bad, 23.6. So quarterbacks are averaging 23.6 fantasy points, dude, against Tampa Bay. That is amazing. That was the same thing last year, dude. So we are looking at a historic trend for Tampa Bay just being terrible in the back end. They've allowed the 4th most passing yards over the last 3 games. Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and Juwan Jennings are back this game. So Christian McCaffrey with Brock Purdy, that fool scored like 22 points a game last year. He was like quarterback 5 last year with Christian McCaffrey, like 1 touchdown reception a game pretty much. And then the last 3 wide receivers, man, or the last 3 quarterbacks, I thought this was crazy to go against Tampa Bay. Mahomes almost had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's sucking this year. Kirk Cousins, man, almost had 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson almost had 300 yards and he had 5 touchdowns. So according to this, he'll have almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. The next guy will only have 1, 0, -1. But hey, man, I'm just saying, this shit's crazy. Everybody's having their career weeks against Tampa Bay. And Brock Purdy's been kind of like, just pushed aside as far as the fantasy community go. I don't even know what quarterback he is. Maybe like 10 or 15, probably even outside of that. So Purdy, man, this is the week where he regains everything, man. Top 10 quarterback moving forward.
Yeah, there's only one team that's given up more passing touchdowns than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's Jacksonville with 19. The Buccaneers have 18. So everybody coming back healthy for the 49ers. They should put up big numbers this week.
All right, Jason, give me a running back to play.
Let's go ahead and let's just throw in there James Conner. Yeah, let's play running back 15, James Conner.
Oh, well, that's good because I own him.
The last 3 weeks, the Jets have allowed the 2nd most rushing touchdowns and allowing 20 points per game to running backs. The Cardinals convert on rushing touchdowns inside the 5 71% of the time. And the Jets allow a rushing touchdown inside of the 62% of the time. That's bottom 5 in the league. And Connor is 3rd in the league for red zone carries. So he's going to have a lot of opportunities inside the 20 at the goal line to score where the Jets suck at. Connor was the first running back to rush for 100 yards against the Bears last week since Jonathan Taylor in week 3, saying that the Cardinals are kind of on a roll right now. And James Conner plays well against good defenses. This week, I play James Conner.
Jason, you showed me this stat. You're all, hey, who's leading the league in missed tackles? It was James Conner, right?
Yep.
So, hey, dude, we loved him. Jason and I both tried to get him in every draft. I just beat him to the punch. Guess what? Jason beat me to the punch for Derrick Henry. So I'd rather have fucking Derrick Henry, Jason. Anyways, who do we just... My neck is killing me. Oh, James Conner. What you said about the rushing touchdowns. I love that. All I knew is that ever since they got rid of Saleh, people were running on them in the first couple weeks, and they tightened that up. But yeah, man, people have been running rampant on them as of late. All right, Jason, next up, Malik Nabers versus Carolina. Dude, the over and under for this game is only 40.5. That is not great. Dude, he's been outside the top 24 in all of his last 3 games. Outside the top 40 in standard leagues. Did you know that? All right, he might not be there. Dude, outside the top 40, Malik Nabers in standard leagues over the last 3 weeks. But yeah, he's been getting a ton of targets, so top 24. Outside the top 24 in the PPR. Tied with Tillman and Ridley for the most targets over the last 3 games, 32, all right? 0 catches until the third quarter with a terrible Daniel Jones without Andrew Thomas. So without Andrew Thomas, things have been a little bit rough. Daniel Jones has 2 passing touchdowns in the last 4 games. He's averaging 0.5 touchdowns over the last 4 games. That shit's crazy. But we look at the cornerback matchup. He has the 5th best cornerback matchup versus Benjamin St-Juste. I've been talking about Benjamin St-Juste all year, man. He's been giving up points all season long. 0.36 fantasy points per route run, so that's great. Last 3 wide receivers, man. Cedric Wilson only had 34 yards against him. That was funny. That was a fucked up game, dude. Olave left to the hospital. Sutton, 100 yards in a blowout, and McLaurin, 98 yards in a blowout. This will not be a blowout, dude. The Giants are not going to blow out Carolina. Should be a closer game. So there should be a lot more opportunities for Malik, the freak, Nabers. So, yeah, dude, I see him being a top 12 wide receiver this week. And he's been outside the top 24, dude, in PPR for the last 3 games. That's insane. He will be a wide receiver 1 for you this week, Jason.
Yeah, you play everybody you can against Carolina. And with the talent of Malik Nabers, and he's like just leading that team in targets, he has a good chance to go nuclear this week.
Dude, but did you hear what I said? He's been outside the top 24 in the last 3 games, outside the top 40 in standard leagues. Like, he's been not even flex worthy in standard leagues over 3 weeks, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, man. Last up, give me a tight end that I really want to play this week.
You really want to play this guy. I know you like this guy. Play tight end 8, Hunter Henry.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
The Bears have a good secondary, but while the wide receivers are shut down, the Bears have given up the 7th most fantasy points to tight ends in the last 3 weeks. The Patriots allow a league-high pressure rate of 31%, which is great for Hunter Henry because Drake May is number one in completion percentage while under pressure. And that's because he throws it to his safety valve, Hunter Henry, every time. Henry will be a number 1 option on his team this week, and I play Hunter Henry.
Oh, Jason. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago or maybe last week. Some of these defenses, they've got really good cornerbacks, Kansas City. All right. The Bears, it forces the issue to throw to your tight ends because you can't throw to your wide receivers. All right. So the Bears are one of those. Only 2 people you really want. I know Butte or whatever has been doing pretty good. Pretty well, I should say. But Hunter Henry and Demario Douglas, I still believe in Drake May. He's going to get out of his tough schedule soon. But even though this is a tough matchup for Drake May, this is a great matchup for, Hunter Henry. He should have one of his highest target shares in a long time. So that's a great call, Jason. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, dude, great call. So anyways, people, that is the show. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it, man. It's a little bit shorter. I think we did great. Jason.
30 minutes.
Hey, and if you actually did like the show, please give us a thumbs up. Do not lie to yourself. And it also sends us out to a lot more people. So that's a great way to support this show. So hopefully we did earn that thumbs up. Hopefully we earned a subscription, man. We need it. We need it bad. Our target is 15 million. And we're just like, I don't know, 14 million and something off.
We're close.
getting there,
We're
man.
close. I can taste it.
Jason, please send us out.
We got our live video Friday. It's our rankings video. If you have any questions, come in the chat, ask us, we'll answer them. It is Saturday early morning. We got the offensive line and defensive line report. Yeah, make sure to check that out. And then you got Tyler's Sunday morning last minute starter sick questions. Make sure to check that out. I'll talk to you guys in Friday's episode. Deuces.
Do yourself a favor. Watch my wide receiver cornerback matchup episode that came out on Wednesday. And then if you pair that up with Jason's episode of the offensive and defensive lines, dude, on Saturday, use that information to make up your own mind, and you will be right most of the time. It's fucking crazy. Anyways, this is the Fantasy Red Zone, and we appreciate you.